Hey folks, Fernando doing another video for Modern Survivalists, and stick around for this video. It is maybe one of the more important ones I have in my channel, and especially if you're in the United States, you want to watch this video so as to understand what's happening right now in your country. A lot of people don't quite understand what's going on. There's lots of confusion, people that feel like, yes, we are a little bit racist, so this makes sense. Yes, I'm going to be peacefully protesting in favor of Black Lives Matter and, ending the police brutality problem in America, all of this. Then you have things that don't seem to make a whole lot of sense. All of a sudden you're in this peaceful protest, and just right next to you there's a bunch of guys all dressed in black tearing down a statue or a monument, and you're thinking, oh yes, I'm not with them, I'm a peaceful protester. And at the end of the day, you're just a useful idiot. I mean that with without any ill intent, but it's basically what it is. So understand what's happening in the United States right now, because it is important and it is very much clear. 3 stages, and these are the 3 stages of a communist revolution, of a communist uprising. The first one is indoctrination and infiltration. This is done and has been done many times in the past. It's been done in a number of parts of the world, rather recently. If you look at what has happened in Catalonia, in Spain, the region of Catalonia, which is Spain, it's the exact same thing. They've infiltrated the education system, schools, universities, as early as primary school, even better. And what they do is convince people of their ideology. They convince people in Barcelona that they're not Spanish, they're not part of Spain, that Spain is just an oppressive state that is just controlling them. And you may think, well, that is stupid, and it is, but when you repeat it enough, and you repeat it enough from a very early age, you actually achieve your objective, which is having adults that believe this nonsense. That's how they got to the stage in which they are now, in which they don't want to be part of Spain anymore. They want to become their own independent country. You don't achieve that overnight. You achieve that through indoctrination from a very early age. And so as to achieve that indoctrination, you have to infiltrate different stages, different layers of the government. You have to infiltrate, especially the education system has always been a favorite target by communists, by Marxists. And you can use, some of these people identify themselves in different ways. Some of them will call themselves socialists, some of them will call themselves Marxists or communists, or just liberals or free thinkers or whatever it is, but they're basically going with the same ideology, the same line of thought, that capitalism is this horrible thing, and anyone that identifies themselves with conservatives or more of a center line of thought, no, those are enemies and they have to be destroyed. At the end of the day, that's what they are. And at this stage, it has been so successful in the United States. Basically, anything that's Democrat affiliates with this ideology, which is, again, a communist ideology, a Marxist ideology, the kind of ideology Marx explained in his Communist Manifesto. And even if they don't know this, that's exactly what they are, if they are supporting what you're seeing right now in the streets of the United States. So infiltration, indoctrination, this is the first stage, and this one is already done. This has passed. This is already history in the United States. You're now in what would be stage 2, which is revolution, agitation. In this second stage, what you're looking for is to make people feel that everything is horrible. You live in the worst possible country, the most oppressive, most racist country that ever existed, and everything is bad, and it has to be brought down. It has to be destroyed, because you cannot tolerate living in such an oppressive, horrible, authoritarian regime with police brutality everywhere, pretty much committing genocide against minorities, against black people, against women, against gays and lesbians and trans, and it's all bad, and it has to be brought down and destroyed. This is classic cuanto peor mejor. Cuanto peor mejor is, the worse it gets, the better it is. This is, again, Marxist ideology of destroying the current system. And in their own minds, and you have to understand them, where they're coming from and what their ultimate goal is. In their own minds, this revolution and destroying things and making people feel that everything is horrible and it's just terrible in the way in which they're living. This is the way in which, according to communists, they are unmasking capitalism. Because if you have a successful middle class majority country where capitalism is thriving and people are happy and everything is good and people are just living and enjoying their lives because that's what they've achieved in a system that benefits people that make an effort, and not everyone is equal in terms of yes and rights, but not in what they achieve through their own effort, hard work, and success. That's all a big lie. That is not real. So when you have a successful capitalist society, that is just a mask for everything horrible that is underneath that. So no matter how well you're doing, no matter how successful and thriving and great quality of life people enjoy in a capitalist society, it is just a mask that needs to be removed. And the way in which you remove the mask is by destroying everything and making sure everything is terrible, graffitis all over the place, cities burning every night and every night protests. This has been the bread and butter of the left in South America forever. I've seen this for myself, and they even say this. It was actually quite recently when, out of a pure miracle in Argentina, Mauricio Macri was elected and was president of the country for 4 years after a wave of like 30 years of left. And the day Mauricio Macri assumed as president was the day in which they started destroying everything and making sure everything was horrible. We've never seen a worse economy. We've never seen a worse standards of living. We've never seen more oppression by police. This is a dictatorship. This is fascism. This is pure fascism. Macri is the most horrible person in the world. Actually, Macri was more of a center-right kind of guy with a background in business, successful businessman himself, a civil engineer. I mean, just a serious, normal, high achieving guy that decided to do something for his country and actually succeeded in becoming president. A lot of that was thanks to the amount of money that he had. He was a very rich guy from his parents already. His father was a successful business owner in the country, and he took that and made it and build upon that very successfully so in pretty much anything he got involved. But from the moment he became president, he was constantly attacked by the left. Every single day you would have protests, you would have roadblocks, you would have riots wherever possible. The idea was to just overthrow the guy. They couldn't achieve that. They didn't succeed in overthrowing him, but they did achieve the ultimate goal, which was convincing people that everything was bad, even though he had been quite successful economically, and the government side has been as best as it could possibly be. He had built more roads than anyone else. He had achieved foreign investment to be slightly interested in the country, even though it was just starting to do things right. But again, the worse it gets, the better was actually successful, and he lost the following elections and back to communism, back to the left, which is what's now in Argentina. But it was super clear that they went for this strategy of the worse it gets, the better. This is what you're seeing right now in the United States. That's why they're burning everything, destroying everything, making Chaz, a country that's ripping into pieces. This is why the mayors, the governors in cities where you have Democrats ruling there and in government there, they're allowing this to happen because they want that. They want people to see how horrible and bad everything is. And if it's not horrible and bad, make sure it is, so that people see how horrible the country they're living is and how much change is needed. And if it's going well, okay, bring that down. If you have a nice gated community, rip the gate, go in there, cause trouble, hopefully get someone shot. That would be perfect for them. They don't care. I mean, they have more than enough useful idiots, and they don't care about people, definitely. So if they end up shooting police, that's okay. If they end up having their own people killed, that's okay as well. As long as someone dies, as long as there's blood in the street, that's going to be good stuff for the media, which is also, again, it's been a slow job of infiltrating different stages, media, governments, corporate, everything is aligned with their ideology. You very rarely find anyone that's not bowing and taking a knee to this movement. It is not about racism. It's not about Black Lives Matter. It's not about moms. Yesterday, what was it? Moms for, I don't know what bullshit was going against the federal agents. Moms for what? You have guys marching in the streets with firearms like Che Guevara revolutionaries. All of this is basically the same thing. They all stream, and it's all little rivers that become a bigger one, and it's all these leftist ideologies. It's a communist revolution that you're seeing. And the final stage, which you have to be very wary of, is final domination, the consolidation of this movement in power. And stage 3 is just a few months away. It could be in the following elections that you see Biden finally winning and they become the ruling government in the United States. You have to be very careful about this. Now, the way in which they achieve control, in which they achieve the stage 3, can either be done through democratic election. Horrible monsters have been elected throughout history, or it could be through overthrowing of the ruling government, which is something that has also happened in different stages in different parts of the world when you have a communist revolution like this. So it could either be overthrowing the government or achieving it through elections. It is unfortunately very likely that they may achieve this through elections. Same thing. I mean, it's just as bad. Once they get into power, they're not letting it go. One of the things they will do is rule with an iron grip, domination, absolutely. Look at Venezuela. You have to study Venezuela so as to see how these people work when they're finally in power. They make sure they suppress any kind of opposing thought or ideology or any opinion that's not aligned with them. They destroy it. They destroy you as a person. Some of these stages overlap. You see this already happening. If you say all lives matter, you get fired from your job. People are scared of getting fired. Especially, none of this is an accident. This didn't happen just right now because pure coincidence. It's been staged. It was organized so as to happen in this right moment. They saw the opportunity with the pandemic and they said, okay, now we're going for it. Now we're going full steam ahead with our plan, and that's what they're doing. The pandemic is still a thing globally. It has affected pretty much all countries, and in all countries you see authoritarian governments take advantage of it. You saw it in Canada, where Trudeau used the pandemic as the perfect moment to go with his gun ban, because he knew that people could be made to stay home and not express a different opinion, have to oppress and get rid of protesters or of people demonstrating on the streets. Hey, we're not in favor of this. No, we don't support your gun ban. No, you're starting with a gun ban based on what? On a crime that happened with guns brought illegally from abroad, or using the same guns from the police. That doesn't make any sense. Why are you banning guns from law-abiding citizens when that's what happened? It has nothing to do with it. Your ban would have not stopped what happened. Why are you even doing this? But he gets away with this because he does it in the middle of a global pandemic. So that's what you're seeing right now. That's why this happened right now. That's why you see all of these different movements, and yes, they will use different names. It's always the same thing. Unfortunately, the Democrat Party has been pretty much either overtaken by it or aligned directly with it. Even parts of the Republican Party are aligning with this idea of, yeah, we're going with it. We're running with this one. Trump is doing a huge effort. I have to give it to the guy. Honestly, I never thought too highly of him. But I've been surprised in the effort he's making so as to stop this from happening. He's using the resources that he has, federal agents. It's funny because they go like, oh, what? You're trying to impose peace and law in our country, in our city? We're not going to be allowing that. Take your federal agents out of here. We want this baby to burn. That's what they're saying. But it is, man, it is a very complicated situation what you're seeing right now in the United States, because you are well within stage 2 and you're just about to go into stage 3. If they win this one, either through votes, you will not see them go. They will stay there forever. If there's one thing we know is that once stage 3 is done, they do not give up power. They stay there. Either it's going to be one guy or the other, or some kind of puppet. Look at what happened in Venezuela, Chavez, Maduro. It's basically the same thing. Or Cuba, you have, Fidel Castro. After him, it's his brother. Maybe it's not going to be something so outrageous like having the brother of whatever puppet is in place, but someone that pretty much has the same ideology. That's the only one that's going to be replacing the communist puppet at that stage once they achieve power. They will not let it go. You do not get, and again, history is our biggest teacher. You do not get rid of communist regimes through elections. You have to overthrow them, because they will not go. They will not let go of that power once they have it. So be very careful with that, man. It is super tough, because it is really not looking very good. But these elections are crucial for the United States. It could end up horribly bad, and you're talking AOC type of America. You're talking about Venezuela America, and you don't want that. Believe me, you don't want that. You don't want to live in Venezuela where you have a loyalty card where you swear loyalty to the regime so as to have a card that allows you to buy food and gasoline. That is pure communism, old school communism. It's not even a reinvented with a little bit of makeup modern. No, it's going back to 1800s type of communism. It is very scary, folks. Please do share this video. I think not enough people understand what's going on. They're confused. The idea was always to confuse people with, this is about racism, oppression, evil capitalist pigs, whatever. No, this is communism, pure and simple. So get ready for this. My suggestion would be get my books. Of course, my books are available in Amazon. These are the kind of things that will help you to deal with what's happening right now. Right this moment, this book will be very handy for you. Street Survival Skills is about being safe out there in the streets when you see this kind of thing. How to protect yourself, your family, your home, when out and about, when driving. All of that is covered here. And my first book, The Modern Survival Manual, Surviving the Economic Collapse, also very relevant to everything that you are seeing right now. Yes, of course, I promote my books. It's obvious enough. If you cannot buy my books, you have my channel. My channel is packed full of information. Use the search function to find all sorts of topics free here in YouTube. That is still an option, and let's hope it stays that way. And of course, if you want to get my books, I have no doubt they'll be very helpful for you. Have a great day. See you in our next video.